Hey there, this is my Tayga 6436 review, and make sure you've got some repair points ready. So starting off, we'll take a look through the truck setup and arrangement, starting with the engine. For the engine, I've chosen the IMZ8 330T engine, granting a power to weight ratio of S. Following this, you can ordinarily select the high range gearbox, though for hard mode I would recommend the off-road gearbox for reasons I'll cover later. This rounds off the remaining stats as A for durability and B- for fuel consumption rates. On initial release of the game, this truck was definitely up there and in contention for best truck in the game, and for good reason. You can get it pretty much straight away, although it won't have its balloon tyres, but it can take a bit of effort to get hold of. But once you have access to off-road and mud tyres, this truck really comes to life. For the suspension, I always opt for the raised kit, allowing bigger tyres which help for tricky situations. I do not equip the spare wheel on this truck, as it is mounted behind the cabin and takes up precious space that you'll be wanting to keep free. Both all-wheel drive and diff lock are always on, which is a great bonus to have, and it enables you to use the diff lock in high gear for all-terrain shenanigans. Fuel consumption can be highly variable on this truck, where it can be tough to nail down the average use. So on harder surfaces, you can see roughly between 5 and 23 litres per minute, but typically a rough average of just under 10. In deep mud, you'll be using the high gear until you get to the really deep stuff, in which you'll engage the low gear, so you'll flip between about 9 or 10 litres per minute depending on how the surfaces are changing. The tyres are good for mud, but you'll need to use the low gear in the worst conditions regardless of how fast you're driving, or else you'll just dig in. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that for hard mode, I'd rather select the off-road gearbox rather than the high range, and this boils down to saving money on fuel and repairs. Travelling at a higher speed and having to accelerate a lot will use more fuel, which will cost you more money to replenish and will add up in the long run. Also, the speed can be counterproductive. Even in only 5th gear, this truck will take damage on roads, and this damage adds up quickly and will cost you more and more money than you need it to. With the off-road gearbox, however, your top speed is more limited and you do gain access to multiple low gears to tailor your rate of progression. This is, however, just my recommendation, but obviously feel free to do whatever you like. On the cargo front, I primarily use this truck for 3 types of tasks: seismic vibrator missions, trailer cargo missions, and recovery aid. The recovery aspect now less so because I've got the Zix 605R for hard mode. Due to its versatility off-road, I have found that this truck is one of the best trucks for the seismic vibrator module missions because the add-on fits the truck really well and the off-road performance is great and it can drive for a good amount of time. Next up, I use this truck with a crane and low saddle for hauling cargo trailers. As long as the long trailer doesn't ride too low to the ground, then you'll have little issue with this truck's pulling power pulling trailers through mud. I prefer to run the truck with a flatbed and crane rather than just a flatbed, as this leads me to a strange issue that the Tayga cannot equip both the loading crane and a flatbed, and this can rule the Tayga out of cargo recovery missions, unless you have to recover a load of stuff, in which case it might be alright. As you can see from the Kola Peninsula footage, the flatbed doesn't exactly overhang by much, so surely a crane wouldn't be a problem. I mean, look at the Azov 64131 with a crane and flatbed. The overhang is huge. Either way, the Tayga is a solid cargo hauler if you want to go down the flatbed approach. Now, to summarise, the pros of this truck include the fact that it can be obtained at level 2, all-wheel drive and diff lock are always on, big chunky off-road and mud tyres available, a great variety of add-ons and trailers are also available. And the cons of this truck include no crane flatbed combo and can be pretty thirsty for fuel. It is a very good vehicle, just take your time on harder surfaces and keep an eye on the fuel gauge. Hopefully the truck is retrofitted with the ability to have a flatbed and crane at some point, though I am doubtful. Overall, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for watching. If you want to see how to unlock this truck, then click the video on screen now. And if you found this video useful, then please let me know down below and have a great day.